On today's show, could there be any Nuggets players on future iterations of Team USA? We'll discuss that. Also, the Christmas Day slate is out. The Nuggets are playing on Christmas Day again. And also, me and Andre are going to tier every team in the Western Conference. Are the Nuggets still in Tier 1 of Western Conference contenders? We'll discuss after this. Welcome in to a Monday edition of the DNVR Nuggets podcast. Harrison Wind and my guy, Andre Simone. This is not Adam.
We're doing it, Harrison.
This is Andre Simone.
I know. I cannot wait to get into why Adam isn't here. Of course, from the Toyota Lounge.
We are in the Toyota Lounge.
World famous.
Driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. A lot to discuss today, man. We're wrapping up Olympics and Team USA, so thought we could discuss, could there be future Nuggets players on future Team USAs? There are a couple guys I think could draw consideration. Also, the Christmas Day slate is out, and we'll be discussing if the Nuggets are still in Tier 1 of the West contenders.
Yeah.
But yeah, no Adam right now. No Adam right now. Thank you for subbing in late. Game time decision.
That's right.
You know, you don't get ready, you stay ready.
I do.
So,
I do. Yes.
Yeah, thanks for joining me today.
You got it, man. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. In fact, just a couple of dads on a Monday, getting some Nuggets talking. You know,
who actually gets selected for jury duty anymore? Like, that is my real question here.
Crazy.
Does anybody really get jury? Have you ever gotten jury duty?
I've gotten a few slips of paper in the mail, and often I forget to call the number at the right time and call 2 hours later, and then I'm in a full panic. But my number has yet to come up.
Yeah, well, that's where Adam is right now.
And then if my number comes up, I feel like I know how to get out of it.
I got the letter once, and I called, and my number wasn't on there, so it didn't go in.
Yep.
So I never even was close to getting selected. But isn't it something that's pretty easy to get out of? That's what I thought, at least.
You'd think, especially, we spit on a mic for a living. You'd think you could get out of jury duty pretty
make up
easy.
Some harmless white lie.
Part of our job is scouring the internet and seeing the worst opinions of all. It seems like you could adopt one of those and get out of it. Just talk about how Jokic is your Lord and Savior, and they'd think like, he's not stable enough.
I have a weird religion. It's Nikola Jokic.
Exactly. I rooted for Serbia the entire tournament. I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe that would get you out of it. You're so un-American because you rooted against Team USA.
That's exactly right. Just start, instead of answering a question, do a Toyota read. Like, I feel like there are so many options.
Yeah. Have you ever been on a jury, Kale?
No.
No? Never?
No, got the call once, but got out of it pretty easily. Just said some stuff they didn't like.
What if Adam's just gone for a month on some crazy trial?
That'd be a big shame. Big shame.
I
would
rough
like
jolt
that.
to the company.
Yeah, that wouldn't be great. Wouldn't be great.
Hopefully he doesn't get sequestered like in that one show.
It's really like well-meaning people, like Hank's girlfriend who got, wrangled into jury duty.
Big trial?
Well, he was scouring the internet trying to figure out what crimes had been committed around that time. He thought for a while it was a murder trial. Then it turned out it wasn't.
Maybe if we talk about the trial on this show, it would get Adam out of it.
Right. Yeah. Let's hope. Let's hope.
We'll
the
see.
Lord's work.
We'll keep you updated on that.
We sure will.
I thought we could start today by putting a bow on, Team USA in the Olympics and discussing, what could these future Team USAs look like?
Yes.
Because, everybody's throwing out their articles predicting, Team USA's roster for the 2028 Olympics, predicting the next Team USA. And could there be any Nuggets players on future Team USAs? this one was from SB Nation. Ricky O'Donnell, who is on this stuff pretty closely, threw together a list. So, some of the guys who were on this year's version, Devin Booker, Tyrese Halliburton, he threw John Morant on there, Anthony Edwards, of course, Jason Tatum, we'll see if he
Durant again, that's kind of surprising.
Kevin Durant. But could there be any Nuggets players that are under consideration, in your opinion?
Yeah, 1,000%. For starters, I think that list should have like Derek White and Drew Holiday as potential returnees, more so than a guy like John Morant, more so than a guy like KD. And those, Drew Holiday and Derek White, I think really proved their value and the importance of in that rotation. You want some championship level players.
Yeah.
You want some glue guys. You want some guys who are defense first, who can plug into FIBA ball and can really just fit into their role. It'll be interesting what phase Team USA goes into. Obviously, this was kind of the last chapter of the LeBrons, the Currys, probably even Durant, in my opinion. And they didn't really trace a path forward that much.
Right.
But I think when I talk about Drew Holiday and White, that's where a guy like AG plugs in perfectly.
Drew
he
Holiday
fits that mold to
is
a T.
34. He's going to be 38.
Okay, that's pretty
Olympics.
old. That's pretty old.
He might have phased out. Derek White's 30, so he'll be
fair.
34. But
they just need backcourt defense on that roster. I just saw you have none of that. Or Ant needs to really step up,
Right. If you think about like how Team USA was made up, you had the star level guys.
Yeah.
The Currys, the LeBrons, the Durants, Anthony Davis, even a star level guy. The role players, very specific roles in terms of you had to play perimeter defense when talking about Derek White and Drew Holiday, but you also kind of have to be able to shoot it. Everybody on Team USA could actually shoot it.
Yeah.
Even Bam Adebayo,
wow,
a capable mid-range shooter. I mean, he's kind of a reserve guy, but he was probably the worst shooter on this team.
Yeah,
right?
That is AG's biggest knock, is how much would his lack of shooting translate. But if they went with a 3 big lineup again,
he would probably be a backup center type.
Right. His switchability is really valuable, I think.
And I think Aaron Gordon was also under preliminary consideration for this year's team. I think when they put out the pool of players, like it was 35 players or something, his name was on one of those initial lists. So he's kind of in the pipeline.
Yeah, totally.
I could say a little bit. But yeah, you wonder if they would put him on there considering his shot is such a big liability.
Yeah, that's the big one for him. And speaking of shooting, the next guy on the list who makes a ton of sense because his game is tailor-made for FIBA, it's MPJ.
Yeah, and that was a characteristic that it felt like Team USA really stressed in this version of this team is shooting. Like, you can make the case that's why they won. They just had far and away the best shooting team at the Olympics, and it wasn't even close. Everybody on that team could shoot, aside from a couple of the big men. But yeah, shooting helps you win these type of tournaments. It's a shorter 3-point line.
Yeah.
MPJ, his, because ability on a team like this is interesting.
100%. I think his game really plays up in this kind of setting too, because it's all a half-court game. The spacing's just reduced because of the decreased length of the 3-point line, and you're not going against teams who are like NBA teams who are that great at shooting. So MPJ, I think his defense would play up. I think his athleticism would pay up.
His length too would be valuable.
Exactly. His length would be huge. So yeah, Mike with and then, he also is in a position where with KCP gone, you're going to need some increased scoring and shooting from that Nuggets perimeter. He'd be one of your first candidates. So I think even though he's in his mid-20s now, early 20s, mid-20s, he's also a guy who could tick up a couple notches in the next few seasons and make himself more of a candidate.
Michael Porter Jr. with a shorter 3-point line.
Oh, it's lethal.
That's cheating.
It'd be exactly what we've seen from Durant or guys like Melo in this type of setting where their shooting just looks unreal.
Yeah. And you need those types of guys in lineups for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, even if this current iteration of stars is going to phase out and, you know, maybe Anthony Edwards is going to be a focal point, Jason Tatum, surrounding those guys with shooters is going to be definitely a recipe for Team USA.
And shooters who don't need the ball, who aren't going to dribble the air out of it. That was Tatum's problem. You know, if Tatum was more valuable as a catch and shoot guy, the way Mike is, I think he would have fit in a lot better. One last point, circling back to AG. We didn't see Luka in these Olympics because they didn't make it in. But in matchup, if like Luka and Slovenia are the team you're worrying about the most, a guy like AG, his value increases even more, you know?
Right. Because this team, USA, did they really have the like 3-4 defensive stopper? They had Drew Holiday, Derek White. You know, those guys are absolute lockdown guys on guards.
Bam as the big 4-5 guy.
Right. Like, who would have matched up on Luka if they went up against Luka?
Yeah, you're right.
LeBron.
Yeah.
He would have probably got the assignment.
LeBron,
especially late in games, like when he switched on to Jokic.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, probably Booker took on that role more than anyone, you know? He was guarding guys full core and kind of letting his length play up. But yeah, Book is not who you would think of as your lockdown 3-4 combo forward guy.
And some of the other guys that you think about that play a similar position to AG, Banchero, Zion, you know, Cooper Flag, I'm sure is going to be a name a lot of people throw out there. And then, you know, the true centers or more true centers like a Holmgren or a Derek Lively or a Bam, like you said, they don't really have that Luka type of stopper.
100%.
And that's a role AG could fill. So, I mean,
I could see a big rotation of like Bam, Chet, AG.
Yeah.
That,
you have a little bit of everything
exactly. That fits all flavors, basically.
Yeah. Anybody else on the Nuggets you think would even draw a mention or should draw a mention here?
I think there is upside for PWAT to be in the mix as well.
Really?
To be in the pipeline, yes.
Really?
Yes, I think PWAT has that kind of just nasty upside where, you know, I think guys like him and Jaden McDaniels could be in the mix just like an MPJ, you know. Obviously, things need to happen in the next couple seasons. He can't get played off the court in the playoffs, and the shooting needs to improve.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, he could be a Kawhi light type of player who'd really fit the kind of stopper we were talking about there, you know?
Yeah. He's probably got to be able to shoot it a little better. He just really can't. It's tough to play a non-shooting type of guy in that role.
For sure.
Because I think of the guys they've had in that kind of role in the past on Team USA, like a Chris Middleton, he can at least shoot it, you know, very well. He can create his own offense.
100%.
He's kind of in that. He'd be in that Peyton Watson type of perimeter stopper role.
It's a projection 4 years out.
Right. I mean, 4 years out's a long time.
Yeah, he could turn into a more valuable, like a piece that makes more sense for the team than a Zion or a Banchero.
Right. 4 years ago, we were in a pandemic.
That's right.
4 years is a long time.
4 years is a long time, Harrison. Yeah.
Christian Brown, you know, another guy I thought about, but you know, he'd be in that Derek White, Drew Holiday role. But again, those guys can really shoot it at a level that Christian's not at yet. If his shot improves, I could see him playing that type of role, but he's not there right now.
Needs to tick up for sure.
But in 4 years, maybe he is.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years ago, it would have been unthinkable to be that Derek White was a meaningful piece of this team, you know? And CB could have that kind of ascension, you know, where he becomes the Derek White piece, where it's like, yeah, he's good enough to space it in FIBA ball, and he's a really valuable perimeter stopper, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting to talk about, you know, Team USA will have the, I think, World Cup in 2 years, and then the Olympics 4 years from now. So it's going to be interesting to see who is in and who's not. You know, how seriously everybody takes like Team USA going forward.
Very interesting. I think they need to expand the field.
The Olympic field from 12 teams?
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
There's too many good teams.
12
we're
teams
excluding.
Is not enough.
Yeah. And this is the #1 international basketball tournament in the world.
Yeah.
I think we need just a little more.
How many teams are in the World Cup?
Oh, gosh.
More than 12. Right?
Yeah, like 30 plus, and that's being expanded to almost 40, I want to say.
Wow. All right. Well, let's hit a break. And on the other side, Christmas Day, our schedule is out. The Nuggets are on it again. We'll talk about the matchup and what other Christmas Day games we are going to be tuning into.
Incredible. We just talked some Olympics, and these are our own Olympics with UC Health's Ready, Set, Co. initiative. You see Coach Prime there, one of the advocates, driving Colorado to be back where the state belongs as the #1 healthiest state in the continental 48, all 50. I saw Hawaii ranks higher than us right now.
Yeah,
unacceptable.
This is unacceptable.
Unacceptable. And Coach Prime is here to lead the way and help you and other Coloradoans be in the healthiest mindset, healthiest selves. And it's all about 4 real principles. And, Coach Prime is the chief motivation officer, and he's joined by other personas: Nutrition Prime, Exercise Prime, Sleep Prime, and Mindfulness Prime. So you get it. Take care of your sleep. Struggle.
Sleep Prime. That's one I will be stressing next year.
No doubt. As well,
very
you should.
Important.
Exercise, obviously very important. How you eat, obviously very important. And guys, the grind's important, but you are most important. You are what matters. And Coach Prime, UC Health, and us all, we're going to make some changes here and get better. If you want to join UC Health's Ready, Set, Co. Challenge, click the link in the show notes or go to uchealth.org/readysetco.
Is it Coloradoans or Colorado? You said Coloradoans.
Yeah, I think both are allowed. I think the most commonly used is Coloradans.
All right. Well,
Kale's nodding.
Kale gives his approval.
Kale gives his
Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. We are here in the Toyota Lounge. Let us know what you think about the Christmas Day schedule in the Toyota chat. What games are you looking forward to other than the Nuggets, of course? With Toyota, trucks have always been a part of their DNA. For generations, Toyota has built durable legends destined for greatness and perfect for Colorado. Whether you are conquering off-road trails or hauling the weight of the world, there's a Toyota truck that's just right for you. Check out the all-new 2024 Tacoma, the return of the iconic 2024 Land Cruiser this year as well. They have 17 models with available all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive like the Epic 4Runner. They also offer more low and zero emission vehicles combined than any other automaker. Check out their Tundra iForce Max hybrid truck. Tons of SUVs as well, like the RAV4 and Grand Highlander. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain State Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of the Denver Nuggets, the official vehicle of DNVR. All right, back here on the DNVR Nuggets podcast, Harrison Wind and Andre Simone live from the Toyota Lounge. Andre, the Christmas Day schedule is out.
Incredible.
It dropped a couple days ago, and the Nuggets are on it. Nuggets versus Suns on Christmas Day. Nuggets at Suns, I should say.
The nightcap, presumably.
I believe it's going to be the nightcap, the fifth game of the slate. Spurs, Knicks, Timberwolves, Mavs, 76ers, Celtics, Lakers, Warriors, Nuggets, Suns.
Yeah.
What's your first impression of this slate?
First impression is that T-Wolves, Mavs has the potential of being a really fun game.
Yeah.
That's a nice little second one.
Rematch of the Western Conference Finals.
Yep. Spurs Knicks is a great one to tell you, point what a freak Wemby is.
Wemby in the Garden.
Absolutely. I mean, and who knows, that Tibbs team might just break him, That might be the end of Wemby. Who knows? Sixers, Celtics.
I don't think Adam Silver had that in mind when he scheduled that game.
He didn't, but he's not thinking 3 steps ahead like we are sometimes. Yeah. Sixers, Celtics, I think one of your greatest brands is that you don't watch Eastern Conference basketball. Great time
Correct.
to sit
don't
down
watch
for
it,
dinner.
Don't think about it. Don't care about it.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure Embiid will be injured for that one anyway. So that's a great...
Andre, he might be injured, but he's playing in that game. It's Christmas Day.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, the hate he'll get in Boston will fuel him.
In front of it and back of it off, but he'll be playing in that one.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Anyways, I think that's a great time to like stop, get a meal, take a little nap.
Yeah.
And then, Lakers Warriors, that one probably should get flexed if Curry gets traded before then. I don't know if the NBA does that.
That game has a little more juice now after the Olympics, though.
It's fun.
Yeah.
LeBron and Curry really came out of that looking good.
Yeah.
And then 2 other gold medalists against your Denver Nuggets.
Absolutely.
That's a fun matchup.
What's interesting about this slate, before we get to Nuggets Suns, only 3 Eastern Conference teams playing on Christmas. There's 5 games, 10 teams playing total. Only 3 Eastern Conference teams. 76ers, Celtics, and Knicks. That's an indictment on the Eastern Conference, alone right there. Usually there's more than that. I think, at least 4. I think in years past.
The Bucks just not. It's why the Nuggets can't fall off this year,
Right.
Boy, that championship 2 years removed really seems forgotten for the Bucks.
Because I was looking at past Christmas Day slates, and there were a minimum of 4 and sometimes 5 Eastern Conference teams on there. And I was actually wondering if the Nuggets were going to get dropped if they had to put another East team on there. Because I was penciling in Wemby. Because the league's going to put Victor Wembanyama in every high-profile situation possible from here until we're dead.
So true.
Timberwolves with Anthony Edwards coming off the gold medal, coming off the Western Conference Finals. His star is really bright right now. The Mavs making the finals. We're going to be on there.
Yeah.
The Lakers are always on there. The Warriors are always on there. I thought there was a chance the Nuggets were going to get dropped, actually. It might have, because, and the Suns as well, you can argue they might have more pull right now than Denver. So, the Nuggets are still on there.
And, yet the biggest exclusions are probably out west, too.
The Thunder.
Just tells you how much more stacked the West is.
Yeah. Are the Suns the team you would want to see the Nuggets play? Like, if you could pick any team in the league to play on Christmas, what's your dream matchup for Denver? Is it the Suns?
I think it'd probably be funner to wax the Lakers.
Yeah.
I think that might be my dream matchup.
Right.
Suns are pretty good, though, because it's not the T-Wolves or Thunder who gave them so much trouble last year. So you still get like a fun little rivalry, but maybe a little less stress.
And now it's just Kevin Durant versus Nuggets fans.
Right. Right.
Nuggets, it's really Nuggets versus Suns, but it's really Kevin Durant versus Nuggets Twitter.
Yes. That's that was a few days ago and I'd forgotten already. That's right. A little hate on Christmas.
Yeah. But I think the 2 biggest Nuggets matchups that carry the most juice, if you're just thinking of, just what's the matchup that's going to get the people going the most. There are 2, in my opinion. Nuggets Lakers is one.
Yeah.
Nuggets 76ers is the other.
Oof.
Like, Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid just have not played each other enough, and the league has to recognize that. And I've got to think Adam Silver would want to give those 2 teams more opportunities to play one another, just whenever he could. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's the Nuggets' first game. Maybe that's like part of opening weekend, Nuggets 76ers. Probably not. Like, it's usually a conference game, but I want to see more Nuggets 76ers games.
Yeah, that would be fun. That's a good take right there.
But Nuggets Lakers is the other one for me. Are you not excited about any of these games? Like, I'll probably take off. I don't know, actually.
Lakers Warriors is a snooze fest to me.
Don't you think it has a little more juice now after the Olympics? Juice that could definitely wear off by the time Christmas rolls around.
Well, it has more juice for sure. I really don't know what to expect from the Warriors. They were hardly a 500 team last year, right?
Right.
So, and they've lost Clay. I think they're only getting worse.
Yeah.
But could we see like a final hurrah from Curry in a Warriors jersey? That could be fun for sure.
Yeah. We talked about who got snubbed, the Thunder.
Big time.
But who would you sub them out for, really?
Honestly, the Suns.
I mean, yeah.
Right? That makes way more sense.
You're correct, yeah.
Lakers or Warriors. Like, Thunder Lakers might have a little more juice than Thunder Warriors.
But it's juice combined with eyeballs. People tune in to watch Steph. Steph is still a massive draw. People want to watch him.
Yeah, it's true. And
if
then
anything, it'd be the Spurs. But.
And then, it's the Bucks.
Also, the NFL is playing 2 games on Christmas Day this year.
Yep.
And I think some good teams are playing. I think the Ravens are playing and the Chiefs are also playing.
The Chiefs are playing the early game.
What's the matchup? Do you know?
It's Chiefs at Steelers.
Okay.
Both on Netflix, by the way.
Oh.
Ravens at Texans. So, I mean, those are great matchups.
Yeah, 2 great games.
2 great teams. Yeah, we can hate watch Russell Wilson, potentially.
You have a good point, though. The Suns getting penciled in to Christmas Day probably needs to stop.
It's crazy.
It probably needs to stop.
Though, it's... new owners will kind of get that bump, right? It's like, we'll give you an all-star game or we'll give you a few more Christmas games.
For sure.
It's just, you spent a lot of money to get in here. Here's a couple, throwing you a few bones.
Yeah. Nuggets, Suns. What other angles are we thinking about with this game just initially, other than Kevin Durant versus Nuggets Twitter?
I mean... Without KCP, is Nurkic still with them?
He is still with them.
He's
slimmed down too. He's having a Jokic COVID summer.
Oh wow, good for you, Nurk. Stay ready, set, go. He hears the initiative. It's all about nutrition, sleep, I'm sure. No, I think now more than ever, it was always a clash of styles, but now it's really like the jump shooters against the team that's going to hammer you inside.
Yeah. And the Suns have, had a pretty good offseason, I think. They needed to get a point guard. They got 2 true point guards in Tyus Jones and Monte Morris. Mm-hmm. Now they guaranteed Tyus Jones a starting job, which I don't think is a good move at all.
It's a
they're not
terrible
going to be able
move.
to stop anybody.
Yeah.
But they did get a classic point guard in there, which they needed. They did have a pretty good draft. I feel for former Nugget Colin Gillespie, who signed with the Suns when they had 0 point guards, and they signed 2 guys who play exactly like he does ahead of him.
Yeah, it's really sad.
But I think the Suns should be a little better this season than they were last year.
Yep.
Obviously, health is the biggest thing.
Harrison, are you ready to cover a Westbrook-Durant rivalry game on Christmas Day?
So I did see some conspiracy theorists online that said maybe Kevin Durant is going at the Nuggets because they signed Westbrook.
Ooh, see?
Yeah.
See?
I don't think that's it, but that's what some people are saying.
I've got the perfect transition for you.
What's that?
Bet365 next.
Yeah.
They have lines for Christmas Day out already.
Oh,
Harrison.
they do. Give them to me. Give them to me.
Who do you bet is favored? Nuggets, Suns. They also have a schedule on here.
So it's in Phoenix.
Yep, in Phoenix.
What do you mean a schedule?
The actual times.
Oh.
I hadn't seen the times.
I haven't either.
Those haven't been...
Is it the late game?
8:30 p.m. Yeah, it's the nightcap.
8:30 p.m.
At least your little one's asleep by then,
7:30? Or is that Mountain Time?
I think the app adjusts to the time I'm in.
Mountain
So,
time.
yeah, it's Mountain Time.
That's the late game. Okay, Nuggets, Suns. It's in Phoenix.
It's in Phoenix.
I bet the Suns are favored slightly.
He knows his stuff. 1.5 point favorites. You nailed it, man. I am quite impressed. That's Bet365 for you. They are never ordinary. They've already got Christmas Day lines. You can place a fun Nuggets future anytime you want. And as if that wasn't enough, you've been able to bet on Olympics all summer long. My Jokic Serbia SGP, 5+ assists, 10+ rebounds, Serbia to win. Check. Over 20.5 points. He had 19. Fell short.
This was in the
bronze medal game.
Bronze medal game.
But my parlay of U.S. women to win, French men to win the volleyball, and Italian women to win the volleyball, that hit. So we made it all up. Bet365. They are the GOATs. The only place you can use our code DNVR365 at sign up. The only place that you'll find DNVR custom bets all year round. And right now, sign up. Get the little things in you need. Minimum deposit. Place a $5 bet. As soon as that's settled, win, lose, or draw, $150 in bonus bets in your account to play with and get all those futures in right now. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you, someone you know, has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Breckenridge Brewery is the official craft beer of DNVR. They have a beer for every single occasion. No better way to watch a game, watch a podcast, hang out than by having some Breck Brew with you. They've been doing it for 33 years. It all comes down to their love and passion for making good beers made with 100% renewable energy. Try out some of our favorites. The Avalanche Amber, Mile High City, Broncos Country Pale Ale, Funslinger. They have good company hard seltzers too. They also have their new West Coast style IPA, the Ridge Runner. Double dry hop brew inspired by the untamed beauty of Colorado's trails. Hop back infused with whole cone hops and a double dose of citrulupulin powder. Creates notes of bright citrus and pine. Damn, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Check out a beer locator at breckbrew.com so you can find the Breck Brew near you. Just type in your zip code, shows you where to get Breckenridge Brewery. That's at breckbrew.com. And again, check out their new West Coast style IPA. I haven't had a chance to try it yet.
We got to go to the farmhouse soon, yeah.
Yeah. Check out their farmhouse too. Great food.
Such good food.
Any beer you want. Awesome, vibe. Great spots to hang out. Great place to take the family as well. Tons of outdoor areas. Breckenridge Brewery, the official craft beer of DNVR. All right, we are back here on the DNVR Nuggets podcast here in the Toyota Lounge. Harrison Wind and Andre Simone. Let's turn our attention to the full Western Conference now, because I was thinking about this last night. Are the Nuggets still in the top tier of contender in the Western Conference? Last year they were, obviously, reigning champions, brought back pretty much, the same team, except Bruce Brown. Feels like some teams are right on their heels, and some have even passed them up. You can say the Timberwolves might have. The Mavs just made the finals. The Thunder, they could be on the cusp of a dynasty, according to some people, and had a great offseason.
That's right.
So I thought we could, get up our classic tiers graphic.
You love to see it.
And slot every West team into a tier based on if they are a contender or not.
I don't think anyone's surpassed them, though I do think you could make an argument that outside of the Celtics, there's no S-tier contender. But I don't think there are any S-tier contenders above the Nuggets.
Interesting. So we'll probably have to have that as a discussion if there's any S-tier contenders. So you'd probably you're saying you'd put this, if we were having the Celtics in this, they'd be the only team in the S tier?
Probably.
I might agree with you. What do you think, Kale?
I think you have to put the Thunder there. I really do.
Well, in the S tier?
Yeah, I do.
The Thunder?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there are a couple bad bounces away from being in the Western Conference Finals last year.
But
I think they got way better. I really do.
You'd put them on the same level as the Celtics.
Yeah, I would. I think. That's I would.
Huh.
They've got. If they're in a series with the Celtics, they've got the best player, and I would argue they're just as deep now.
Wow, Kale is a Thunder truther.
Yeah, real Thunder truther.
I respect the opinion. I'm not with it though.
I'm not either. I think they need to prove a little more to me. And I would argue the Mavs figured them out pretty nicely and showed that there's still some steps that need to be taken. I think right now they're just a tad too reliant on SGA hero ball in a playoff setting where everything's half-court centered. Now, Jay Will, Chet, they take that jump. That can easily be remedied. But So
All
yeah,
right.
my argument is there's a bunch of A-tier contenders, and that's where we start.
I think I'm with you. Let's just start by going one by one through these teams. Who do you want to start with, Kale? I'll leave it up to you. Who do we want to drag into here first?
Let's just go in order that I have on the graphic. So let's start with the Wolves.
Minnesota. My first instinct is to put them in tier A.
Yeah, same.
Beat the Nuggets in 7 games, Western Conference Finals. They're bringing back the same team pretty much.
Yep. And then added their little rookie point guard that they traded
Dillingham. They're a year older, which I think is the biggest thing to watch with them. Mike Conley's getting up there in age. I don't know if he's going to be, as good as he was last year.
Yeah, that's
Rudy
huge.
Gobert's stock is really down right now.
Indeed it is.
And, he's low-key getting up there in age too.
Yeah.
But I still think he'll be pretty, close to his usual self next year.
Yeah, his impact in the regular season, and a lot of it comes down to Cat and McDaniels.
Yeah. Play along with us in the Toyota chat. Let me know what you guys think about these West teams.
Yeah, indeed.
But they're pretty much running it back. Anthony Edwards still getting better. McDaniels getting better. Maybe you get a healthier year from Towns, although you can't guarantee that at all.
No.
They got a couple, nice additions on the bench. They got Joe Ingles. Alexander Walker is still there.
Right. Still a key piece.
This is a great team still. I mean, they are clear
100%.
tier A to me.
And there's the ascension, how far does that progress and continue?
Yeah. Let's leave the Nuggets for last.
All right. Let's go Thunder then.
Let's go to the Thunder.
I think that's another A-tier contender right there.
I think the biggest question here for me is, are they at the A-tier level or are they B-tier?
Really? So you and Kale complete 2 tiers of separation here. No, I mean, I think they were tied with the best record. I think their depth and defensive ability is high end. What Chet's going to do in year 2 could really be huge for them. Not to mention, I mean, they have, a bunch of young guys beyond Chet, who's the Kentucky point guard who's in year 2 who could really
Casey Wallace.
Yeah, Casey Wallace. Who'd they draft top 15 this year?
Well, they drafted Topic, who's going to be out.
Oh, right. So,
but they got Hartenstein as well. They got Caruso.
Yeah, and the Hartenstein Caruso. I just think their depth and building on top of what they did last year, plus their youth, they're a clear A-tier team to me.
Regular season for sure. Do you think they're A-tier for the playoffs?
I think A-tier means exactly that. That you are a great regular season team. You have some matchups where you might look really good in the playoffs, and you have some matchups that could be really concerning.
Yeah.
And that's where you are in the A-tier. Like the T-Wolves, and dare I say, like the team you cover.
Yeah, I'm fine having them in A-tier. I'm a little lower on the Thunder just in the playoffs right now than I feel like most people are.
Can tell.
But for the purposes of this, I think they're at that level for sure. Yeah. All right, who do we have next here?
Is that the new Clippers
Yeah,
logo?
let's go. No, I mean, it is, but let's go with Portland next.
Let's do Portland here.
Oh, wow.
This is pretty clearly
Indeed
the bottom tier.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, way to allow us to move on quickly on this one.
I mean...
Interesting to see what they do with Ayton, but if they're not a D-tier team, I don't know who is. Also, the West is so loaded, there's literally just one D-tier team. There might not be many C-tier teams either.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think they are the only D-tier team.
1000%.
Yeah, they're going to be bad.
They're like the only team legit not trying to win next year.
Right, until the Jazz convince themselves by the trade deadline
Right,
to
exactly.
not try to win.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think we have to spend much time on Portland. All
Yeah,
right.
let's go Jazz next, which is weird. I don't even know if they're trying to win or not.
They re-signed Lauri Markkanen now, and they re-signed him. He chose to re-sign at a moment when now they can't trade him the entire season, so they're going to have him.
Crazy.
They have, the weird mix of rotation guys. They got the Clarksons of the world, the Colin Sextons, Walker Kesslers. Like, they have this really weird collection of role players. My first instinct is to put them in C tier, though.
Same. with the ability to go down to D tier and maybe have more assets than most D tier teams, and the ability to lean into this C tierness and maybe even get to B tier sooner rather than later.
They went 31-51 last year.
But they also actively stopped playing their guys,
Which I think is the same thing that's going to happen over the second half of this season too.
Probably, yeah. They
So
also
I'll
have
put
added
them in C.
back-to-back 3 rookies in back-to-back classes.
Filipowski, they got him.
Yeah, they got...
Didn't seem like there was a ton of demand for him on draft night.
J. Will's brother, Cody.
Cody Williams, I mean, he's a project. I don't see him contributing much this year. So, yeah, I'd put them C. I like that there.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Another weird one. Where are we putting the Warriors?
So, if you ask me this, this is probably stupid saying this, but if you asked me this question before the Olympics, I might have been unsure, but now I feel comfortable putting them in B.
Wow.
It's just tough. Steph is still that guy.
Really hard.
I mean, they're definitely not A.
No, for sure. They were 46 and 36 last year.
And they're definitely not, at the Jazz level, although maybe you could make the argument the Jazz are really D tier.
Yeah, I mean, they were game off what the Pacers did in the East last year. I think B tier is probably fair, though I'd love to be a hater.
Yeah.
Clippers are next.
Just real quick on the Warriors. They're going to have a really interesting year, I feel like.
Yeah.
They've been trying to make these trades all summer. They floated the trade for LeBron last year. They tried to get Markkanen. Mm-hmm. They've been having their hands in the jar of all these big name guys on the trade block.
They were the Giannis spot for a little while.
Now they come to this season with just a really weird team. They have Curry and Draymond Green. Now they're thrusting Kuminga, who's due for a new contract, into the spotlight. Mm-hmm. Moses Moody, Pajemski, he's starting, I guess. They've still got Wiggins here. They signed guys like Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield. There's a lot of parts on this team. I don't know how it comes together, but weird team heading into the season.
Steve Kerr's got to earn that mega contract he signed.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Clippers.
But there's a lot of legit NBA guys on there.
No, for sure.
So, I mean, I see the argument for B tier for sure. And I think that's probably accurately rated.
Clippers, they lost Paul George.
Yeah. And Westbrook.
They did add a couple of rotation names.
Yeah.
They've got Batum. They've got Chris Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Derek Jones Jr. Norman Powell's still there.
Yeah.
My first thought is to put them B.
Yeah, I think this is a B tier team that can easily implode and fall down to C tier. I mean, so much of this is Kawhi Leonard reliant, but
they're B tier with Kawhi, but how many games are you going to get a Kawhi?
Right.
Yeah.
Because without Kawhi,
sure.
they're not a B tier team.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'd probably put them B for now. I wonder if putting those two teams in tier A is really screwing us here.
You think, huh? I think it's going to be the entire conference is A and B tier, honestly.
All right, let's keep going.
Los Angeles Lakers are up next.
The Lakers, they're probably B tier as well, right?
Classic B tier. I think the standard's been set, and they are right there.
I mean, the Lakers did absolutely nothing this offseason.
Yep.
They still have D'Angelo Russell on this team. They still have Hachimura, Jackson Hayes, all these, rotation guys that they tried to fill out the team with last year that didn't really work out. They lost Taurean Prince, who, was kind of a neutral. They didn't really add anybody. They've got Gabe Vincent back, who barely played last year.
Right. Yeah, no, they're Hood Scafino. They're really counting on him after a good G League team. Their mid-first rounder from a year ago coming up.
Really counting on him.
Dalton Connect, another. So they've gone young on us. And don't forget, LeBron took like $1 cheaper contract, so they were under the second apron. So we've got that. An act of benevolence that could take them very far. Yeah, I think B tier, it's the 40 win. It's the 40 win team club,
Yeah. I mean, last year the Lakers 47-35. They were the 7 seed.
Yep. Play-in tournament champs, though.
I have a feeling they're going to have a very similar year to the one they had last year.
Oh, for sure.
And maybe play the Nuggets in the first round again.
Oh, it'd be so glorious.
Okay, next up.
The Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix Suns, they seem like another B tier team to me.
Yep.
It's
Absolutely.
a crowded B tier, but I feel like that's what the West
that's
is
the
with
West
these guys.
for you, yes.
They pretty much ran it back with their top level talent. But like I said, I actually like what the Suns did this offseason in terms of getting a couple point guards.
The moves seem more sensible this year.
I liked what they did in the draft, getting Ryan Dunn, although I don't think he'll play a ton this year. They have some nice role guys. Nice is a generous word.
For minimums, they're nice. Yeah.
As in a Monte Morris, good minimum guy.
Yeah.
Tyus Jones, great minimum guy.
Exactly.
They're not going to be able to stop anybody.
Nope. And, they're ultimately kind of capped by Beal and KD's age. But of these B-tier teams, I probably like them better than any of the other three.
Yeah. They're pretty comfortably in B tier, I think.
Yeah, agreed completely.
Okay, next up.
Sacramento Kings.
Love their offseason.
They got DeMar DeRozan.
They're able to keep Malik Monk, which was the big one, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And, they come out of this pretty good. They took a step back last year from the impressive 2023 they'd had. And, I think they've gotten back to that level. I do think they're a bit capped to, at best, B tier.
I wish we had like a B plus tier for this team.
Yeah, we could use a B plus tier, yep. And an S minus tier, probably. Yeah.
They're in B tier for sure, but they probably have a lower ceiling than some of these other B tier teams, I think.
Higher floor, though.
Yeah, they have a good floor. Like, I feel like the Kings could surprise some people this year.
No, I really like them as a frisky regular season team.
Yeah.
I just think with how loaded the West is, you're capped when your two best players are Fox and Sabonis, who, again, I really enjoy, but they're just not, like, top 10 guys,
Right. Yeah, I mean, getting DeRozan, I think it's a classic Kings type of move.
Yeah.
Where a team in the situation they were in, they needed to do something. And getting DeMar DeRozan definitely makes them a better team. The only thing is that kind of is their last move with this iteration of this group, it feels like. The Fox, Sabonis, DeRozan big three, like they'll probably give them a year. And if it works, I don't see it working. But if it doesn't work, they'll probably have to go in a new direction.
Yeah,
it's
a bit capped. Capped.
All right, next up, looks like we have the Mavs.
Luka and the Dallas Mavericks.
Really fun exercise to do because honestly, I feel about the Mavs roster the way I feel about a lot of B-tier teams. But Luka and the track record he's shown with even lesser teams than he had last year, plus some of the youth, guys like Lively and what have you, I think they belong in that A tier.
I agree. I think they're clearly A tier.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, they were just in the finals.
Yeah.
If we put them any lower, that'd be kind of wild.
Right. They just made the finals. And look, they got Klay Thompson. And a lot of people talking about Klay Thompson being washed. I mean, he's definitely on the downside of his career. I think he's going to have a really good year in Dallas.
Do you?
Yeah. I think he's going to be a little rejuvenated.
Uh-huh.
I feel like the Warriors just... the situation, how it played out last year, his contract, how public that stuff was.
Yeah.
I feel like he just needs a new change of scenery. Now, is he going to be the Klay Thompson of old? No. But shooting threes off Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic kickouts, I think he's going to look really good in Dallas. I think it's a great spot for him.
Yeah, no, I mean, and when Luka's leading the way and Kyrie seems to have really figured some things out and not be the liability he was a few years ago, I mean, their floor is really, really high.
They lost Derek Jones Jr. They lost
Which
Josh
hurts.
Green.
Yeah.
2 role guys. But I think Klay Thompson can give you what Josh Green gave you and maybe even a little more from the shooting department.
You should hope so.
Yeah.
He's getting paid like 5x more, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
maybe some of those young guys like Omax Prosper or one of the other guys on their bench can fill the Derek Jones Jr. role.
Right. Good point.
Najee Marshall, who they got as his kind of replacement. He's a rotation caliber guy for a good team.
No, and I mean, just the glimpses we saw with Lively and Gafford last year, that big rotation could be important for them.
Yeah. Next up,
Houston
Rockets. Last year they went 41-41. They were 500.
B tier's tempting for these guys. B tier's tempting.
The B tier in the West is like longer than.
Oh, wait till we
of
get to the
things.
Spurs. That'll be a fun discussion. I say B tier, but if you told me they've only earned C tier to this point, I wouldn't disagree. I think the roster's B tier and showed enough last year to make me feel like that jump is coming.
I'm curious
And
what
they
the
will be
Toyota
B
chat
tier.
thinks about the Rockets. Are they B tier or C tier? They went 500 last year. Of course, they went the veteran route last offseason. They got Van Vliet, Dylan Brooks. Steven Adams, I think, is healthy now.
Yep.
They got Şengün. They just drafted Reed Shepherd, Jabari Smith, another year older, Amin Thompson. Maybe a Cam Whitmore
Yeah.
injection.
I mean, they had stretches last year. The first stretch of the season where Şengün was healthy and they looked really good. And then the end of the season, they ended really hot. It's the middle that got them. I think they're B tier. And I think if like Bet365 had a line who wins more games, Warriors or Rockets, I'd probably take the Rockets gun to my head right now.
What do you think, Cal?
I think I agree with Dre. I think they're B tier, but Chat is pretty consensus C tier.
The thing is, they're definitely a level above the Jazz, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Their assets have formed in a way that's making them more competitive right now.
Yeah.
Even though they're both like asset heavy.
Let's put them C tier.
C tier. Yep.
Okay.
Let's put them C tier.
Memphis Grizzlies are up next.
Oh, that's a tough one.
C tier, I would think.
C tier, not B tier, huh?
I mean, I don't think you can put them there. What's the argument for B tier?
Well, at one point they were a A tier, arguably.
I know.
But
I'm kind of a Grizzlies hater.
yeah, maybe you're right. They're
I mean,
just
you might be right. Like, a lot of people would definitely put them in B for sure. You're getting John Morant back, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's those ancillary pieces that I think we thought were a lot better a couple years ago,
They might be B.
and they aren't great. I think they're a 40-win team, though.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
probably
that's
B.
the
That's
thing is
kinda
like
B tier.
they're not as bad as the Jazz or the Rockets. That's just
Right.
real.
Marcus Smart, Kennard,
Oh, God.
got him back, re-signed him in free agency.
I just hate everything that's happened to them the last 2 years.
Oh, if you're talking about just vibes of an organization, they're pretty low.
Yeah,
They're just a huge question mark.
for sure.
I could see them, pushing to the top of B tier. I could see them in C tier this year.
Yeah, totally. Their variance is massive.
Should we put them B?
I think B is the right spot.
All right, we'll put them in B.
Yeah, I think B is the right place.
Next up,
The New Orleans Pelicans. What do we do here?
Oh,
Pelicans.
boy.
I mean, they're B.
They've earned B tier. I think that's reasonable.
Oh, I think you're right, but any health questions and they're C tier immediately.
I know. I mean, they were in the play-in last year, finished 49-33 in the quote-unquote 8th seed. They got DeJounte Murray. I was talking with my buddy Christian, who covers the Pelicans down in New Orleans.
Right.
They have this just log jam on the wing, because you have to start McCollum.
They're the
and
deepest wing team ever.
You have to start McCollum and DeJounte Murray
Yeah.
Then you've got Zion and Brandon Ingram.
Yep.
That's already 4 starters,
Right.
and that's without a center,
And then
which
you have
means
Herb
Jones,
Trey Murphy, Dyson Daniels.
Like 2 of those guys
Jordan
are going to have to come off the
who
bench.
looked awesome.
Yeah, 2 of those guys are coming off the bench.
No, I know. I mean, but the bench we just listed is better than like the C tier's maybe best players, you know?
Yeah.
Like they are firmly in B tier. I love that roster. They just need to figure out Zion and BI.
I'd say B tier.
Yeah. Also, Alvarado quietly one of the best winners of international basketball this summer.
I mean, if
big time.
you're drafting international guys like to go to war with, he might be 1-1.
No doubt.
All right, I'm good with B there.
The 2 best discussions right now, Harrison.
Where do we put? Yeah, where do we put the Spurs? And what type of leap do we think Wemby's going to take?
A big leap for sure, but I'd probably still put them C tier.
Yeah, the roster just hasn't taken that leap.
They did get Chris Paul, which will definitely help.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Trading out of that 8th pick to give it to the Timberwolves, I thought, pumping the brakes on being super duper competitive right away.
Oh yeah, Dyson Daniels did get traded to Atlanta.
Oh,
good call.
I forgot. Good call. And yeah, I think the Spurs are C tier.
They went 22-60 last year. I think the question is like, can they get to 500?
Yeah, I think they could be 41-41 like the Rockets. I think they could, but I think that's still high in C tier. That's not B tier.
Oh, absolutely. They got Harrison Barnes. This offseason, they drafted Stephon Castle.
Yep.
They just signed Malachi Flynn, true point guard.
Oh, wow. Oof.
Chetty Osman made his way to San Antonio.
Amazing.
They've still got Vassell, Sohan. I'd say C tier.
Yeah. It's honestly a D tier roster with 1 A tier player, and that makes for a C.
Yeah. I think the biggest one I might regret is maybe we should bump the Jazz down to D.
Yeah, that might be fair.
I mean, they're definitely above the Blazers, but just like for the purposes of this, are they really in that tier?
No, I think you're right. I think that's a good call.
We don't have to. I'm just thinking out loud here.
They ended up being pretty crappy last year.
I think that's the right call. I mean, also, I think that what this exercise is showing is how maybe not high end, but deep the West is.
Oh, yeah.
And like the Jazz are just not 40 games against the West. They're just not going to be able to win that many games.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
I think I'm a little lower on the Spurs overall, but like they're above the Blazers tier, I think.
Yeah, I think what they showed towards the end of last year, they can be competitive against anyone just because Wemby can go on those stretches.
Yeah, like the Nuggets.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Okay.
Well, now that we've created this hierarchy, I think it's clear where the Nuggets belong.
S tier. I'm just kidding. I think the Nuggets are A tier.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think they're in a tier by themselves. I think they're in that tier with, the top West contenders.
Yeah. And you need to prove a few things. You lost 2 guys from your rotation, or 3 guys from your rotation when you won it all. You've kind of refilled that with some vets and some young guys. How those guys pan out will really determine a lot of this.
Yeah. Like the Nuggets are clearly still above every team in that B tier.
Yes, no doubt.
But it's tough to make an argument right now that they're above Minnesota.
Right. I love them in a matchup against the Mavs. I'd be concerned in a matchup against the T-Wolves. And depending on how Caruso and Hardenstein pan out for the Thunder, that matchup might scare me as well. So, yeah, I think it's pretty fair. I think any of those A tier, depending on what their path is to the playoffs, could go out in round 2 or be the West representative in the finals.
We had no S tier teams, Andre.
We did not. I stand by it.
Because if I'm thinking about the entire league here, I would put the Celtics in S tier, and that might be my only team there.
100%.
Oh, yeah, I think I agree with that. I don't think there's a true Celtics level threat in the West.
After that, it'd probably just be the Sixers in A tier. I'm not sure the Pacers have earned A tier.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah,
maybe the Knicks, if you're a big Tibbs guy.
Yeah.
Maybe the Bucks are in A tier, but there's not many more teams in A tier than that.
All right. That's what we got.
That was fun.
Should we hit Super Chats and then get out of here? Let's hit some Super Chats. Thanks for hanging out with us today, guys, on this Monday. Starting off from Cedric. Part 1, no, they are not. No, Adam, I won't stop Super Chatting, cuz. Oh, man.
Okay.
Thank you, Cedric. Here's Cedric again, $4.99. Andre, question. What will happen if Nuggets don't extend Jamal and he doesn't play to his contract? Also, where is Eric or Vote? Thanks for holding it down, Wind. What's your take on the Jamal contract, Sitch?
I think with how this all plays out and the contract structures, you just need to give him his deal now. You can't risk it coming to the open market and him being offended next offseason because you just won't have that same dollar amount to offer someone else in the free market. And I don't know, I think it's easy to forget that Jamal had 2 clutch buzzer beaters and a 30-point performance in Game 7 in his worst playoffs ever. Like, I just don't think you're finding anyone still in their 20s that's going to fit as well and be as good as Jamal Murray.
It's a tough spot that
you just got to do it.
Nuggets are in with this right now. I would not want to be the one that has to give him his next contract.
Yeah.
This is from Damian Lee. Kale quit pissing people off last show. Why no bogey? What did Kale do last show?
I have no idea.
I don't even think you were. Oh no, that was after the USA game. I don't know.
I don't know. I've been having to ban people from the chat, and anyways, we'll bring that up next Super Chat.
Okay. Why no bogey? He's good. I don't think Atlanta wants to let him go for nothing.
Right. Makes sense.
Essence, Solace, Nugs better than any team in the West. Kale, quit banning the chat.
Okay, I have one thing to say about this. If you're causing beef in the chat, even if you're a regular, I'm going to throw you in a timeout. Like, the chat is supposed to be a healthy place for us to talk about the Nuggets and not for you guys to fight with each other. And especially when you're throwing out personal insults, I'm not going to deal with that.
Yeah, there you go.
You're not above the chat and
Kale
the vibes.
is the czar of the chat. Don't piss him off.
Yeah, he runs it. Also, Kale with 2 L's. Yep.
Yeah. Is that it? That's it. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out today here in the Toyota Lounge on the DNVR Nuggets podcast. Andre, thanks for filling in while Adam is out on...
My pleasure.
Wonder how the trial's going. I wonder if there's been any updates. I haven't heard any.
Yeah, I think he's going to be busy all day with this one, so stay tuned. Yeah. Maybe we'll go 2 for 2 tomorrow. I'll be ready.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.